Hey, how's it going guys? Captain Kuba here and welcome to another God of War video. At the time of making this video, God of War Ragnarök has been out for more than a month now and has even had the chance to win some really cool awards at the VGAs. So I thought it was time to finally start covering this series I love so much. Now, when it comes to new God of War Ragnarök content, it's fair to say that we're gonna have a lot to talk about for a while. God of War Ragnarök is easily the biggest game in the series, and it's also the first one to leave this many characters alive by the end of the story. I imagine all of these characters will be important to some capacity in the future of the series, and while I'm excited to start talking about them, I first wanted to start by talking about a character that's no longer with us, who in my opinion could potentially return. No, not Brock, but Thor.
Look into my eyes. You tell me.
At the start of God of War Ragnarök, Thor is depicted as one of the strongest gods Kratos has ever faced. This is in part thanks to his god and giant blood fueling his superhuman strength as well as his powers. But Thor also had someone to thank for his unceasing rage, his father Odin. You see, Odin isn't like Zeus. Zeus's motivation was to gain power and hold on to it for as long as he could. And if he became suspicious that someone might be thinking of taking it from him, he would hastily act upon it. Power was the language of the Greek pantheon, as Zeus also kept the other gods happy by making them rulers of certain domains. Poseidon was the ruler of the seas, Hades ruled the underworld, Helios the sun, and so on. But this isn't necessarily the case with Odin. Sure, he is powerful and could give Zeus a run for his money in a fight. But power for power's sake isn't what motivates Odin. At the core of his being, there's someone who just wants answers to life's biggest questions, or at least that's what he claims. This is why the gods of Asgard don't have titles like the ones from the Greek pantheon. Instead, they're more like Odin's employees. Baldur was his best tracker, Heimdall read minds for him, Atreus for a while became his best translator, and Thor? Well, Thor was his destroyer. During the war against the giants, Odin commanded Thor to kill any giant he came across, and as a result, Thor began to believe the narrative Odin had created for him.
What about the giants you killed? They were my family. Thamor, Hrungnir, they were your people too.
The giants were a blight on the Nine Realms, and I reveled in every single one of their deaths.
Drinking and killing giants became his purpose in life, and when he met Sif, he knew he had found someone who enjoyed this hedonistic lifestyle just as much as he did. However, this changed one day when Modi returned to Asgard and informed Thor that Kratos and Atreus had been successful in killing his brother Magni. Thor blamed Modi for his brother's death, and in a drunken fueled rage, he brutally punished Modi and casted him out of Asgard. This led to Modi once again running into Kratos and Atreus, at which point Atreus finished what they had started earlier. The death of Magni and Modi marked a turning point in Sif's life, as she started to realize that this was no way to raise their children. And the same mistakes both her and Thor made with Magni and Modi could not be repeated with their youngest child, Thrud. This is when, according to Mimir, Sif gave Thor an ultimatum. Thor, not wanting to lose his wife and child, decided to change, but it was very difficult for him to do so, since his father still saw him as his best destroyer. Having to choose between being a good father and being an obedient son is what makes Thor an interesting character in God of War Ragnarök. He has small moments of triumph.
I'm doing the best I can to keep this family together.
If that were true, you'd stand up to your father for once in your life.
You're right.
Honey,
No. You're right. What kind of example am I setting? Seems the only thing I can do right these days is destroy everything around me.
As well as moments of defeats.
Let it be known, the God of Thunder is good for two things: killing giants and pissing me!
This goes on for a while until Kratos is finally able to make Thor understand that for the sake of their children, they can't be destroyers no more. And for a few seconds, Thor changed. He dropped his hammer and stood up to his father, but sadly, this didn't end well for him. Look, as a God of War fan, my thoughts about Thor are conflicted. There's a part of me that's really disappointed we didn't get to see the angry and brutal Thor we were promised in 2018. For God of War Ragnarök, I imagine Thor would be an unrelenting force, always getting closer to Kratos and Atreus as they went on an adventure to stop Ragnarök from taking place. We saw some of this in the beginning and a little bit at the end, which once again was disappointing. But I would be lying to you if I told you I didn't like Thor as a character. Much like Baldur, at first I just wanted to fight him. But by the end I started to sympathize with him a lot more, and a small part of me started to feel okay if Santa Monica had kept him alive for future entries in the series. But now that he's dead, Santa Monica can't do that, right? Well, there is a way they can still bring back Thor without it feeling forced, and longtime fans of the channel know exactly where I'm going with this. That's right, it's time to talk about the higher plane of existence, baby.
My sacrifice to save Zeus has brought me to a higher existence.
You still appear to be an Olympian.
Appearances can be deceiving, Kratos.
In my opinion, the topic of the higher plane of existence is one of the most interesting topics to discuss on the channel. This is in part due to how mysterious this realm is. If we're being completely honest with ourselves, the only thing we truly know about this elusive realm is that Athena went there after she sacrificed herself to save Zeus from Kratos. But we're still not entirely sure what the purpose of this realm is, or even who lives there. The truth is, we only have a mention of this realm in an old interview with Cory Barlog and the previously shown clip of Athena. Most likely, development on the higher existence has internally changed multiple times, and it might not even be called the higher plane of existence anymore. But despite us not knowing much about this realm, Santa Monica can't seem to stop teasing it. The higher existence was most likely shown to us in the Fallen God comics. Here Kratos met Thoth, the Egyptian god of wisdom, as well as his old acquaintance Athena, also the goddess of wisdom. And now in God of War Ragnarok, we learn that Odin's obsession has always been a mysterious rift under his home, which he suspects is the source of all creation. Something many fans of the series have come to believe about the higher plane of existence. All of these vague references to the higher existence have me thinking that Santa Monica is doing something similar to what the MCU did with Thanos, teasing him for a couple of years and then giving us the Infinity Saga. I think Santa Monica is doing something similar, but we're still not sure what the end goal will be. But something I'm starting to believe more and more is that the higher existence is somehow collecting worthy gods as if they were Pokemons. I know this sounds silly, but you really have to look at the two gods we've seen there so far. Most likely. Remember, we're still not sure if this is the higher plane of existence. But anyway, first we have Athena, who's quite honestly the only deity in the Greek pantheon who wasn't trying to screw Kratos over. And at times she even showed empathy for Kratos' misery, something no other Greek god ever did.
Forgive me, brother.
Then we have Thoth, whose story in the God of War universe is completely unknown. But when you look at all the stories from the Egyptian mythology, you get a sense that Thoth is one of the most benevolent beings in that pantheon. He gives the gift of writing as well as science to humans, and even other gods seek his wise counsel on many occasions. I understand we can't make the only worthy gods come to the higher existence rule just by analyzing the only two characters we've seen there so far. In order for us to recognize a pattern, we would need to analyze and compare at least 5 more characters. So once more gods are added to the list, our theories might have to be adjusted. But for the time being, this rule is the best thing we have so far. And that brings us to the question of today's video. If sacrificing oneself or being a worthy god is the only rule to enter the higher plane of existence, does that mean Thor will join both Thoth and Athena in this mysterious realm? At first, it might seem like the only proof for this theory is that at the end of Thor's life, he does stand up to his evil father and momentarily, quote-unquote, joins Kratos and Atreus in saving the realms. But this isn't the only proof supporting this theory. Mike Who, a longtime fan of the channel, has noticed something really interesting about Thor's death. If you look at how all the Norse gods in the God of War universe die, you will notice that their bodies always remain. Baldur's body is seen being carried away by Freya, same with Magni and Modi. Well, Modi's body can't be found, which makes me think he's still alive. But anyway, Heimdall's body also remains, as well as Odin. The only god that has a different death scene is Thor.
Dude, this was all their fault.
His death almost has a clean feel to it. He just simply dematerializes. Very similar to the moment Freya's curse prevented her from staying in Alfheim. But even more, Thor's death is almost identical to Athena's, the first deity who ascended to the higher existence.
God after God will deny you, Kratos. They will protect Zeus. Zeus must live so that Olympus will prevail.
When you see these two clips side by side, it becomes very clear why some God of War fans, including myself, believe that Thor too has ascended to the higher existence. Now, I know some of you are going to bring up the point that Thor technically didn't sacrifice himself, therefore he shouldn't go to the higher existence. But once again, you have to remember that this rule isn't confirmed. Just because Athena ascended there after sacrificing herself, it doesn't mean that all the other gods found there did too. I tried looking up a story in Egyptian mythology in which Thoth sacrifices himself, which then leads to his death, but I haven't had any luck. If you know of a story like this, please let me know in the comments section below. But for the time being, Thoth's lack of sacrifice as well as Thor's death looking very similar to Athena's makes me think that sacrificing oneself isn't a requirement to enter the higher existence. Maybe the higher existence is just a place for worthy gods to go after they die. And since Thor in my opinion became worthy at the end of his life, I truly wish to see him there one day. Now that the Norse saga is concluded, I suspect we will be talking about the higher existence a lot more, and I truly can't wait. But let me know what you think about this topic. Do you want to see Thor ascend to the higher existence, or do you think it's better if Thor stays dead permanently? Whatever your thoughts and theories are, make sure to leave them in the comments section below. Now, as always, I would like to thank all of my members for supporting the channel monthly. People like Matt Sanders, Pineapple Live, Goldening5, Yusuf Edzo, Alex Lupo, Timbo Slice, Edge, Lone Wolf, Demon of Empire, Robert Wall. There's so many of you guys, and I can't appreciate enough how much you guys support my channel and myself. I really couldn't do this YouTube thing without your support. So, from the bottom of my heart guys, thank you so much. I would also like to thank everyone who likes and shares my videos. I know it doesn't seem like much, but trust me, it really does help. And with that said, thanks for watching, and remember, go forth in the name of All Father Kratos.